Thank you. I'm going to talk through now marine digitalization and the future of risk. What we've heard today so far has been covering a variety of different elements from finance, but a recurring theme throughout today has been digitalization and how we can actually make use of it to help us as ship owners, operators and managers make the most of our fleets and optimize those. So I'll be running through that. In terms of the landscape we have, as has been mentioned, an awful lot of vessels now, I would go so far as to say the majority are connected in terms of have a level of digitalization with data being transferred onshore, linking in many cases from the automation system, the integrated bridge system and various instruments on board. And this is great. And the big picture question really is what do we do with the actual data? From Eniram's perspective, as you can see on the screen, we have a software as a service product which we've added. So we do the traditional business of linking into the full systems on board, but also now we realise that for a lot of our customers, they simply do not want the CapEx expenditure of linking into expensive automation systems, ECTIS systems, etc. So what we have there is something called our Skylight system, and Skylight then enables us from a risk perspective to provide a better insight for insurers, charterers, owners and ship managers. In terms of Eniram, the only reason to show this slide is in terms of shipping, and I feel quite humbled standing here up in front of you. Many of you who've been building and running businesses for, well, in the case of Captain Chekos, since the 1970s. But Eniram, we've been operating in the digital sphere for 13 years. So we've purely been focusing on digitalization and helping our customers, so ship owners, charterers and operators. And from that perspective, we have a little bit of experience. We have just over 350 ships to date with the system installed. So we hope we're in a strong position to talk on this subject matter. In terms of the key element, and this was touched upon by some of the presenters this morning, getting the data is one thing, but the key thing, just like we saw the very first session on market trends, the key thing is ensuring that that data that you're actually seeing in terms of market trends, for instance, what does that tell you? Does it tell you where you should be investing in terms of your new vessels, acquiring second-hand tonnage or scrapping, etc.? It's all about the trends and giving you that, what we in the data field would call the insight. So seeing the data is great, but you've actually got to do something about it. And first comes the insight, and then actually doing something about it, so actions in this case. And in terms of what we've been doing, and I think this is fair for all of the industry on the digitalization side, is providing a number of different windows electronically to enable such things to be achieved, whether it's via web systems, whether it's more traditional reports, or whether it's what every one of us here pretty much has in our pocket, a mobile phone. We need to move with the times, and this is what we've been providing. And I think digitalization and making the most of your data is about making it easy. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be a session you have with your IT department where you're dreading it and you're thinking, my goodness, not another 45 minutes talking about our IT infrastructure. This is exciting. This helps you make better business decisions with your companies. In terms of the way Skylight works, first of all, we have a transponder. So, as I mentioned, this system is changing the way we assess risk and shipping, and the key elements of this is a transponder. This enables us to see where the vessel is, so we get the coordinates, and from there, we're then enriching this information in the cloud. So what that means is from the position, if I know where somebody was standing last Saturday, hopefully sitting in the sun somewhere, based upon that, we can find out other things, such as the air temperature, if you happen to be lucky enough to be on a vessel or on a sailing vessel. We can also tell you what the water temperature is. We can tell you what the humidity is. A whole plethora of different information. So that's what we mean by enriching data from the cloud. So this is what we do. So a simple software as a service, bit of kit. and then providing further information from that. And then in terms of the actual results, that means providing information such as deviation from course, for instance, or expected consumption based upon the speed and the particulars of the actual vessel. So this is where it's really tying in, making it nice and simple for you to see what's actually happening on your vessels and manage them better. This is about empowering you. We don't have the golden bullet here, we don't have the solution to everything. But I think what digitalization can bring to the table is more insight and actually help you make better decisions. This is, everybody sitting here is good at making decisions. You get faced with a barrage of paperwork, emails more commonly today, and the question is how do you cope with that? So this is what digitalization is bringing to the table. In terms of skylights, the new elements that we have here, the mobile notifications, this is the direction the digital world seems to be heading. And also virtual RPM sensing. So for those vessels with single screw, single shaft, rather than having to link into expensive equipment, we're picking up the vibrations. For those of you lucky enough to have been sailing, captains, chief engineers, etc., you'll know that you can normally feel through your feet how the vessel's operating. And in the same way we're doing this, but on a digital level with models. And then providing insight from there and reports. The reports that we're providing, charter party conformance, so for those of you that are owners, this is a key element, and those charterers are also interested in this, but this is more around the ownership. Also providing speed profile, insight into how this is working, and why do you care about that? Well, obviously anyone here who's worked in the bunkering department or has had to sign off on the fundamentals in terms of the fuel knows that anything you can do in these areas is key. So it's providing insight there and really helping. And the third element is normalized speed consumption curves. Once again, you may think, wow, this is getting so boring, Nick. What a boring presentation. But this is the very crux of running your vessels, and the complex game of chess that some of you are lucky enough to be playing is one of the key elements, is actually looking at how the vessels are performing in terms of their fuel curves. In terms of Eniram, we are and have been for roughly a year and a half part of Wärtsilä, proud new members of the Wärtsilä family. And this slide here really represents what we as Wärtsilä are working towards, which is connecting all of the marine ecosystem from ports through to the more traditional elements of the actual ship itself, and this is what we're working on there. I mentioned about and touched upon risk, and in terms of what the skylight element is doing today, is we're also linking in this profile and the insight that we can provide with insurance market. So for those owners that approve, and I should make that clear, only where it's approved by the owner, we're able to open up and provide visibility into what's actually happening for the vessel. And the question you should be asking now is why? Why do I care about such things? Well, once again, if you're signing off paying the insurers for your vessels, anything that can chip away or give you better premiums based upon the real operating profile of your vessels is good news from the feedback we've received from our customers so far. So that's what we're doing. We're doing that, and we announced that last week in Athens, actually at the Capital Link event there, and a partnership with Consiris on the insurance side. And here we have basically what we're up to on the screen. So it's one single view, so tying in the captains, operators, and the insurers. But the end result on the right-hand side, what we should really have there is a dollar sign with a minus in front of it. It's about reducing your premiums or helping the insurers quantify the risk more accurately, which ultimately should be win-win. And if we look at the automotive industry, some of you will be aware that if you have teenagers, you're probably terrified to lend them your car. But certainly in the UK now, there are telematics where you have a little secret black box, basically, that records how hard they accelerate, how fast they go, and it looks at the geospatial information such as the road, whether it's a country lane, whether it's a wide open motorway, speed restrictions, etc. And they pay more or they pay less, depending on their profile. This, somebody mentioned about Uber. In some ways, this is a logical step as well. So linking into that, and I think, this is what we're working on there. It's just in its infancy, but we're rather excited about that, and we hope perhaps some of you will also be interested. Thank Thank you. That's it.